Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the weekly home workshop. I'm your host, Terry Taylor with the Tailored Realty team. Normally on Wednesdays at 12:15, we join you for a short little lunch break where we talk about real estate topics for buyers, sellers, investors, homeowners. It's simple, it's practical, it's easy to understand. Today, we're going to talk about on episode 17 first time home buyers' mistakes and how to avoid them. Now, I know I said 12:15, and I know it's about 10 minutes after 1. What happened? Well, technical difficulties. I just did a whole episode. You may have seen my mouth moving. Hopefully, no one joined and said, "What's this crazy joker doing?" But yeah, so I had a slightly new setup, and quite frankly, I did not have the speakers on. I had my mic on, but not the speaker, so it wasn't picking anything up. My apologies. So we're just going to turn right around and redo this episode, give you the information again, so it's something that you can use and share with your family, friends, and loved ones. Let's go ahead and start out with our first segment. First thing we want to look at, and we're going to dive right in, is why buyers feel overwhelmed when it's time for purchasing their new home. Why do first time home buyers feel overwhelmed? And I want to start out by saying a lot of the first time home buyer mistakes are completely avoidable, right? So there's nothing permanent here. It can leave a stain and a mark, but it doesn't have to. So a lot of them, the mistakes are avoidable. Let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. But secondly, let's see um, why we can have some of this overwhelm for the first time home buyers. Number one, it's a huge purchase. If you think about it, for most first time home buyers, buying your first home is literally your biggest financial obligation you've ever gotten into, for the most part, all things being equal. And that can be a bit overwhelming, right? So that's number one. It's a big financial change. Number two, it is unfamiliar territory. So a lot of the contract language, a lot of the agreements that you're getting into, some of the mortgage terms and terminology, sometimes the attorneys are getting involved. These are a lot of things that are being thrown at you, terms and things that you've never seen before. And let's be honest, when you pick a real estate professional, unless you know the person you're working with, unless it's a family member or a friend that does real estate, sometimes you're going in cold to meet somebody to help you with the biggest purchase you've ever made. That's one of the reasons you want to make sure you vet your real estate professional. Make sure your personalities mesh. Make sure you read their reviews, you look at their track record. Be sure you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing because, quite frankly, there is a lot of money on the table, and you can lose money um, if you don't understand what you're looking at. Uh, I literally just got off the phone with one of my agents to kind of explain, or one of our agents to kind of explain um, something that I wanted them to be sure their buyer knew, like what closing costs were and how much money they'd have to be bringing to the table. Those kind of things can be a bit overwhelming and a bit of a sticker shock if you don't know what you're looking for. Another reason you can have some overwhelm is because a lot of times you have family and friends kind of chirping in your ear, telling you what you should and shouldn't do, what should and shouldn't be happening during the process. And though they may be well meaning and they do have your best interest at heart, sometimes they're just wrong. And but when you weigh in your options, the question becomes, now, I'm dealing with a real estate professional, but my mom told me this. And your natural tendency is to believe your mom. Now, mom is right; she's right. Or my uncle, or my cousin, or my best friend. It's okay, to have people in your corner, but you kind of want to rely. I guess you can trust what they're saying. That old saying goes, "Trust but verify." Uh, don't throw out your real estate agent just because a family member or friend says something that appears to be contradictory to what's been said. So, number one thing is, don't forget, all of these things are totally avoidable. The process too can seem very complicated, but if you got a right real estate professional, some of those complexities, we should be able to smooth out some of those rough edges and make this a little more palatable to you so you can understand exactly what it is you're doing. Okay, so that's one of the things. Let's look at our next segment, shopping before preparing. So, in the first segment, we were looking at why first time buyers feel overwhelmed. Next, we're going to talk about shopping before preparing. I can tell you straight up, this is one of the big issues that we deal with as real estate agents because the excitement is high. You're really ready to go out and find that perfect home, right? You're ready to go do what you should do last. You're trying to do it first. And the first thing you should be doing is looking at your budget. How much home can you afford? What payments are you comfortable with, right? Don't go out and try to shop before you're prepared. These monthly payments and these monthly costs and these expenses, they can get up there sometimes. Classic example, again, when we have our consultations, we mention this quite a bit. What you're qualified for and where you want your payments may be two different levels. You may qualify for a $400,000 loan. But once you do your budget and once you decide, what kind of lifestyle you want to live, a $400,000 payment may not be where you want to be. You might want to be down here at this payment, which is more like 275 or 300. But I can promise you, if you go look at $400,000 homes before you've decided that you only want to take out a $300,000 loan, that is a huge gap, or a $275,000 loan. That is a huge gap. And I can promise you this, certainly here in South Carolina, I would imagine in other states as well, $400,000 home versus a $275,000 or $200,000 home, it's a big difference. It's a big difference in payment, and it's a big difference in fit and finish. So you don't want to go getting your expectations way up here by looking at something that you're not willing to pay for later on down the line. So just be careful about that. Do not shop before you have prepared yourself. And again, we kind of pump the brakes because a lot of times, man, those buyers come in and they're ready. Can we go look at a house? Can we go look? We'll go looking, and guess who's going to tell us where to look? Either your wallet or your pocketbook. They have the biggest vote in deciding where we go look for and shopping for homes. So just keep that in mind whenever it's time. And let's look at our third and final segment, focusing only on the house. Okay. So first segment, we kind of dealt with first time buyers feeling overwhelmed. The second segment, shopping before preparing. And finally, the mistake, focusing only on the house. If you focus only on the house, then you're setting yourself up for a big letdown. And you really won't realize it until you're actually in the home, unfortunately. So the granite countertops, the carpet, the hardwoods, all these beautiful things, lining up, again, lining up features and fit and finish and what kind of paint is this, and all of these things, and they're good and they're necessary, but there are certain things that you're not considering when you're trying to make this decision. What about the neighborhood? Because guess what? You can go out to one of these big box stores and you can go buy 5, 10, 15, 20 gallons of paint and change the whole look and feel of your house. You can rip up floors and put new floors down, change the whole look and feel of your house, but you can't change location. Usually the house is where it is, right? 99.99% of the time, it's where it is. So you can't change location. Go look at that neighborhood. Go to that neighborhood at night. Drive through there at night and just see what the activity looks like. Drive on the weekend. What's the weekends look like? Because a lot of times when you're going to look at a home, depending on what your schedule is like, especially if you work on different shifts, you may be looking at a home during the quietest time of the day, and it looks beautiful. But you go to that same neighborhood 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 5 hours later, and it's way more hectic than you were bargaining for. So view the neighborhood. What about the commute? Driving to and from certain parts of the city can be a challenge. Now, it may be a challenge that you're up for, or you may be leaving at a certain time of the morning, or leaving at night at a certain time of day where the commute won't be a challenge. But we always highly recommend, if you can, go to that neighborhood, figure out what route you'll take to work, drive there from that area one morning, get up real early, go to the area, drive to work. What does that look like? And then after work one day, drive to that neighborhood again and see what that commute looks like. Some certain things that you just probably wouldn't even think about. The other piece you want to think about is the schools. What kind of schools are they in? What's the school systems look like? A lot of times, your real estate professional can run reports. Your agent can definitely give you an idea of what the schools are like. Those school report cards. We have data at our fingertips that we can share with you, so you can evaluate the school systems. Go to the county websites, Richland, Kershaw, Lexington, whatever county your school is in, and pull up those schools. Look at their report cards. Look at what kind of programs they offer. Look at those student to teacher ratios. Call and ask any questions that you want to ask. Because again, this is a big purchase. This is a big deal. Don't just leave it to chance. Do your homework, okay? Another quick little tidbit is, hey, if you get some heavy rain or some real bad weather, if you can, try to go there shortly after a good rainstorm. Do you see puddles forming in the yard, or and maybe a couple of days later, let's go look and see, hey, or sometimes, you might have a big puddle in the front yard that you'll never see on a sunny day, but after a hard rain, you'll find out. And you don't want them, again, we can't manufacture weather, at least not yet. AI is doing quite a few things, but as of this recording, we can't control the weather. We certainly can as real estate agents, or you as a buyer. But if you can, go take a look at those things. Also, look at the property condition, right? The condition of the area. A final point in this, focusing only on the house piece, don't forget, if it's not your forever home, and things can sometimes change, you may have to resell this home at a later date. And if it's, what's the best way to say this? We try to get things that fit into a normal type pattern. You don't want abstract or abnormal things. Not that they're always bad, but if it's not the typical thing or the typical layout. Here's an example. Here's an exaggerated example to kind of get you to understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say you find the perfect home, you love it, but there's a swimming pool in the front yard. And that's no big deal to you. Granted, most time HOAs won't allow this, and this is just an example. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine with a swimming pool in the front yard. And you live in it and you use the pool and everything's cool. But 3 years later, you have to sell that house. Guess how many people are looking for a swimming pool in the front yard? Not very many. And those are the things so what's the typical buyer going to be looking for when it's time for me to sell this home? Those are some things that you're going to have to consider. So I know one of the issues and one of the problems we see a lot of is, unfortunately, we have a lot of times where, like, even if it's a small yard, there may be a yard space that's real small, and that's a detractor for a lot of buyers. And quite frankly, that can make it hard to sell that home when it's time for resale. So just kind of consider those things when you're thinking about reselling your home. So remember, in our first segment, we were talking about why buyers feel overwhelmed. In our second segment, we were talking about shopping before preparing. In our third segment just now, we were talking about focusing only on the house. And finally, the last thing I want to talk to you about, I don't have a shot for it, but making financial changes during the process. Huge mistake. You do not want to do this. And that's a huge first-time home buyer's mistake. Don't make big cash withdrawals. Don't make big deposits. Don't make big purchases. Don't buy a car. Don't extend credit. Don't co-sign loans. All these are big, huge red flags because your mortgage company, your lender, is constantly looking at your financials throughout the process. So until you have the keys in hand, make sure your financial situation is stable. Excuse me. You don't want these things looking different throughout the process. You want stability until you get to the closing table. Then you can go make some of those financial changes and decisions at that particular point in time. Hey, I hope this episode has been helpful. Again, these are some of the things that you want to try to avoid, some of these mistakes. Because again, all these things are avoidable, but they are mistakes that you can make. Uh, Highly recommend, shameless plug here, get yourself a real estate professional, yeah, a realtor if you're looking to buy a home. It's a huge decision. There's a lot of money to lose if you don't know what you're doing. And a lot of times, what you don't know can cost you a whole lot of money. If this has been helpful, share this with somebody that can use it. You may have understood everything I said, and everything I said made sense. And it may have been stuff that you already knew, but it's okay. Share it with someone who doesn't know, because we're trying to make sure people understand these home buying processes and make them understand and make them aware that this is something that you can do. It's not too hard. We're here for you. We're at 8012 Garners Ferry Road. If you need our assistance, come by, uh, have a buyer's consultation with us. Yolanda and I'll be glad to help you out. This has been this episode of the Weekly Home Workshop. Apologize for the confusion. We're normally here Wednesdays at 12:15. Look for us next Wednesday at 12:15. We look forward to seeing you. Take care, stay safe, and have a good one.